it's Addie, and today's video is a Valentine's Day baking video, and I'm going to be making all kinds of Valentine's Day themed treats, and I'm going to go and deliver them in goodie bags to some of my friends. Okay, so I'm making cake, a heart-shaped cake. This Hershey brownie thing, cake pops and cookies, and so I'm going to start by go ahead and making the cake for both the cake and the cake pops. That way I can already have it all done by the time I get. Okay, so I discovered I only have 2 pans, which is what holds a whole box cake. So I'm gonna make the cake for the cake pops first, and then I'm gonna just dump them out because you just go in with your hands. And while those are baking, I'm going to do the buttercream frosting, and then set that aside and do the cake for the actual heart-shaped cake, and we'll go from there. Okay, so now I have to crack 3 eggs. That one got a little messy. I'm not good at cracking eggs. It calls for a cup of water and 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. Do the oil first so the water washes out with the oil later, so you get all of it. Because oil's not going to wash out water. Do this 3 times. Oh, this is half a cup. It's fine, it's fine. Just be a little bit extra oil. I thought it was a 1/3 cup. Great. Off to a great start, as you can tell. Anyways, I'm just gonna mix this up, I guess. Now I'm gonna pour the batter into the pans. Make a mess. Okay, so I just put the cakes in the oven and set a timer. And now I just washed the bowl out that I had the batter in, and now I'm going to make the buttercream frosting, and we're gonna make a lot of frosting because I'm gonna double the recipe because I gotta have some to put in the cake pops and to decorate the cake. Time to make the frosting. It's buttercream frosting and it's vanilla, and it's my favorite frosting ever. I've made it with some of my friends and they love it too, and it's just very light, but it's still buttercream. Like, it doesn't taste like whipped frosting, but it still is very light and not super thick, you know? It's really good. So I'll link it on Pinterest as well down below, but I really love it. It's not my recipe though. It requires a cup of butter. I'm doubling the recipe, so I'm doing 2 cups, and for some reason these are 4th sticks, so whatever. But yeah, I'm doubling the recipe. So I'm doing 2 cups. But when I have the recipe on the screen, I'll just do for 1 serving. Okay, now that you have all the butter in there, you're just gonna beat it until smooth. This process takes a while. I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, so now my butter is pretty smooth, and it's time to add the powdered sugar. And you add 3 cups of powdered sugar for each cup of butter. So I did 2 cups of butter, so I'm adding 6 cups of powdered sugar. When you start this, make sure you have it on the lowest setting. And because I have so much, it's probably still gonna be a dust cloud. But let's pray it's not. Okay, it's not too bad. It's a little dusty though. The more it gets mixed in, the higher you can get the speed. Sometimes you're just gonna have to get all the butter off the little mixer and just give it a good stir because it's just a process. Okay, now that I've got that pretty smooth, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. If you were making 1 serving size, but I did 2. So I'm about to add 4 and then increase from there as needed. Now it's time for the vanilla extract, and it's 1 teaspoon for each serving, so I'm putting 2 teaspoons. Now the key to this icing is to let it whip until you think it's good enough, and then let it keep whipping. I promise you, let it whip for a while. It makes it that much better. To cake, toothpick, clean. Okay, now I'm gonna let those cakes cool before I crumble them up for the cake pops, and I'm gonna get this buttercream in a different bowl so we can make the second batch of cakes. Okay, so the cake pops take a minute, so I'm gonna go ahead and do those, and I'm gonna show you exactly how, and I learned from a TikTok, and it seems pretty easy. Okay, so the first thing you do is you just take the cake of your choice and make them, which I already did that. And now that they're done, I'm just gonna crumble them up and put them into a separate bowl. It's still kind of hot, but I'm in a crunch for time. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. Give me a minute. Now you're just gonna get your hands in there and literally crumble them up real fine. Oh, it's hot. Then it said add a dollop of icing, which is why we made all this extra icing. And it said there's no real measurement. Just kind of eyeball it and then stir it together so you get a dough-like consistency. So I've definitely achieved that consistency. And now you just get a good chunk in your hands and roll it up into a ball. Get some more. Place it on a pan with like parchment paper, and you're gonna freeze it. Just gonna do that for the rest of this bowl. Pops, and I put them on a tray and put them in the freezer. So now I have to go through the whole cake process again. Hopefully I don't drop anything this time, and I'm just gonna put y'all in a time lapse because there's no point in showing you everything again. Are in the oven, and now I'm going to start dyeing some of the buttercream and check on my cake pops. Okay, to dye this buttercream, I'm just going to take like a dollop, like a big scoop of it, and put them in a different bowl. Dye them with these and try to do like different shades of pink or red. While I'm waiting on the cake to finish and the cake pops, I'm gonna bag this icing. Okay, so I just take a gallon-sized Ziploc bag and the frosting tip of my choice. Open it up. Put it almost in the corner. Snip just a tiny piece of the corner. These scissors are not very good. Then push it down in there. And there you go. Then you just scoop it in. Take a cup and put it down in there. Do this. Make sure the tip is down there. And scoop the frosting into the bag. Push it all down. Bam. Just got the cake pops out of the freezer. Now it's time to dip the sticks in the candy milk and then into the bowl. So I'm gonna melt just a little bit of these, and then you have to refreeze them. I'll show you. Okay, so we've got a little bit of chocolate melted. Now you're gonna dip the dowel into the chocolate and then into the cake bowl. Just like that. These cakes are out, and I'm going to go put them in the fridge and let them cool. Now it's time to finish the cake pops, so I'm going to melt a lot more candy melts and get them out the freezer. Okay, so now the chocolate for the cake pops is completely melted. I'm going to start dipping them in here and putting them back on the tray. They're not the cutest, but I think it's going to work. while I'm melting more chocolate, I'm gonna put the ones I already have in the freezer. The heart cake was a little bust. The bag of icing busted on it and it made the cake fall off, and then it fell off on this side too. That's great. But now I'm gonna make cookies and put the cake pops back in the freezer and then clean up and we'll be done cooking. I have the cookies in the oven and now I'm just going to bag the cake pops and until they go off, and then I'll put the cake pops in a baggie. So this is how the cake pops turned out. They're not the best looking, but they taste good. And this is how the cake turned out. Again, not the best looking, but tastes good. The cookies, though, couldn't mess those up. They look really cute. And I'm about to put the little goodie set together. The goodies in the back, and I'm about to drive them to Audrey and Orland. And this is the end of the video. And so I'm very glad that you guys have been watching this, and I hope you enjoyed watching me fail over and over again baking. But I still had fun, even though it took me 3 hours. But thank you for watching. Bye guys.